Come on now, let's go live. Here we go. Here we go. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Collecting Profit. How are you doing tonight? Welcome back. Episode number. What the hell number is that? I can't remember.
I think we're at 58.
58.
I only remember that because earlier I was like, Jack Lambert.
That's right.
So literally just when you said that, I thought of Jack Lambert, and it reminded me, I should say.
All right. So, Anthony, 2 weeks ago, well, first things first, everybody, hey, my partner in crime, Anthony Picksburgh. How are you, buddy?
Good, brother. Very happy to be here yet again.
Yes, again.
Yeah, for, the longest running, whatever this is, as Carlos would say.
Episodic talk show.
Correct.
So, hey, Anthony.
Yes, sir.
Another first, another new adventure for Collecting Profit.
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks ago, we debuted on X.
Yep.
Today, we debut on Instagram.
Nice.
Instagram Live. So we're X, we're Instagram, we're YouTube. So come on, come one, come all. Enjoy the show.
Yep. And if you guys could share this out with other people that you know that enjoy collecting or eBay, just two knuckleheads talking mess.
We got Maddie Ice Baby in the house.
What up, Maddie?
We got Adrian League of Her Own. What's happening?
Hey, Adrian, good to see you. Appreciate you being here.
Yep. Thank you. So, a couple things. There was, there's, a little bit of some hobby stuff. Wanted to talk about culture collision and everything like that.
Get a rundown of how you like that, like what your experience was. Shout out to Chuck Dupree.
Chuck, what's up?
Good to see you.
Yeah. So, culture collision was good. It was not as good as last year because you weren't here.
Touche. And honestly,
and Irene was not here.
I was thinking that was probably going to be a letdown without us being there, but I didn't want to put a damper on everyone else's parade.
What's up, Alan? Yeah, so you got that one. That's Thor, and that one's Charlotte. So culture collision only went one day. From everything that I heard, so they had a like a preview night. Mm-hmm. I guess it was Thursday night. It might have been Thursday night or Friday night. They had a preview preview night at Cards HQ. A couple guys did videos on it. I would definitely look it up, watch them.
I saw Flippin' Steve was one of them that did a video. Shout out to Michael Ham. He had one of the videos, Cards HQ.
Yeah.
Those are two of the guys I saw videos of. Lockin', what's up?
What's up, Lockin'? Yeah, there were a bunch of people who had shows and stuff. So so from that standpoint, did videos on it. I forgot who the other guy was. Name escapes me right now. I can't remember. Rookie Patch Autograph. He was another guy who did one. Justin Gamble. Then they had the show on Friday, and then they had the show Saturday. Overall impression of the show, it was good. It was good. Culture collision. So for those that aren't familiar with it, what they do is, excuse me, they basically it's a card show, but then you also have sneakers. You also have other types of collectibles type stuff. And not all just sports stuff.
banging soaps, man.
Yeah, and they have soaps and all kinds of stuff. So overall, very, very good. Well attended. A lot of tables. A lot of, I don't know for sure, but to me there was a lot more either first time vendors or new vendors. Like maybe like brand new first time people. And you could tell because there were a lot who, they had an 8-foot table, and this was Saturday morning, so it's not like this was Sunday. The show ended at 4 at 3:30, right? This is Saturday, the big day of the show. where you have people who had, they had a 6-foot table, 8-foot table, and some of them, they might have only have had like, I don't know, 25, 30 cards out, from that standpoint. So, so from there it was a little weird. One of the things that surprised me was that there were two guys that I saw that were card cleaners,
Hmm.
and then they were doing it right there. They were they were they were doing their thing. They were
was it like Mr. Minty or like
Mr. Minty was one of them, and I can't remember the name of the other guy.
Was it Kurt's Card Care, or was it like
no, it wasn't Kurt's Card Care. It
okay.
was a completely different name.
Have you seen the stuff they're doing now with like the liquids and like soaking cards?
Yes.
It's insane what they're doing, man.
Yeah, I don't
wow.
I don't understand it. I mean, it is kind of, crazy if you ask me. I'm very, very surprised by what I was seeing, from that perspective.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, but again, when I was watching them, they had their Q-tips out and they were doing their little thing and stuff, and I'll say it's not like there was a lot of people around them. I think by Mr. Minty, when I walked by one time, there was really only one person talking to him. So it wasn't like there were, people hawking, trying to see, hey, what are you really doing over there? What do you do? Anything like that. And then the other guy, same type of thing. I don't know if they were offering a service per se, like, hey, drop your card off and then you can, go to bring it over to SGC or CGC. Those were, those were the only two.
That'd be a great service for them to offer, like for the product. Like from what I've seen, I've seen Minty set up in LA shows. I don't know if he's from LA or if he just sets up out there. But from what I understand, it was more so like demoing the product, like, hey, this is how it's done. But again, I haven't really seen him set up since I've lived in LA, and it's been a long time since I've lived out there at this point. But yeah, I mean, that would be a decent service to offer, especially if somebody wasn't going to buy like an entire package, which I think they're like $50 or something like that a piece.
Yeah.
Alan says Justin Gamble cusses a bit for his taste. Yeah, he does cuss a good bit.
He does
on videos, which I'm surprised, like with somebody who cares about monetization, that he would cuss that much on his videos. But if he's still getting, the sponsors or like whatever he needs, like more power on him, I guess, to say what he wants.
Yeah, he definitely does, and I mean, he's trying to get to that 10K and stuff, but unless I don't know. I don't know if he will do something different when he gets to that point. I don't know. One of the things that he announced, and I don't know if it completely coincided with Culture Collision, but it's called GG Mini Shows. Gamble Mini Shows, and what it is he's doing more of a for lack of better words, like an intimate setting. Like he said, he's going to maybe look at like, hey, Diamond Princess, how are you?
Intimacy with Justin Gamble, eh?
Yeah. That he was going to do it. He was going to do it in like, restaurants and like rent out, room and have food, like 15 to 20 vendors, and stuff like that.
Like a trade night almost.
And really, it really would be, something along those lines, but like small and do them a little more often, do them around, the country. So he was, he was talking like Miami, LA, San Francisco, San Diego, Dallas. Like the first one they're doing is in Little Italy in New York.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. That'd
be really cool.
Which seems, pretty interesting and stuff.
Diamond Princess, what is going on? Good to see you.
Happening?
So did you actually meet Justin Gamble when you were there?
I never got a chance to. I mean, I spoke to him. Never really got a chance to stand in front of him and spend a bunch of time. Rocky, how you doing, buddy?
What's up, Rocky?
What I will say is that so talked to. I mean, I talked to some people, lined up some people. Juice from Lootbox TV was there. Spoke to
Nice.
him again.
Those
He's
guys
like,
are cool.
and I was like, hey man, we'd like to. He's like, yeah, man, he goes, hit me up on Instagram. We'll get that out. Spoke to Louisville Sports Cards.
Hey, Michael, who let the dogs out?
Who? Lisa.
His wife just let the dogs out, like right behind him.
So Louisville Sports Cards was there. G spoke to him for a little while. They're gonna come on. They're a breaker. They have a card shop that they do breaking. Their big thing is on Wednesday nights. Wednesday is release day, so they do a lot of their breaks on there. So he's gonna look at the schedule of when they won't have releases and they're gonna have there.
Those are the guys that work with 502 Frank, right? Louisville. Is that what you said?
I don't know how much they do. I know they do a bunch with Lootbox. I think they also do with 502 Frank also.
That's cool.
Another one, which is very interesting one that I spoke to, and
what's up,
Greg? What's happening? What's happening, Land Shark? The card carver. He does some cool stuff. So he does custom cards, and we have to figure out. I spoke to him. I'm trying to get him on tonight. We'll have to figure that part out. You never seen the guy. I don't know how much you show on Instagram, but you'll see that one guy, and this is not him, but he'll take like 5 different cards and he'll throw them on a table. The next thing you know, he makes a card out of it.
Yeah.
Well, he does that same type of thing. He makes custom cards, but he makes custom cards with pop culture mingled together.
That's awesome.
So, like for instance, he has a 1989 Upper Deck Ken Griffey Jr. rookie card, but then like in the background,
I'll actually pull up some of his stuff.
Yeah, in the background is like Chewbacca, Han Solo, adding all that, that pop culture type stuff to it.
Yeah.
What's happening, Dommy? So he trying to get him on, and cool stuff. And what's cool about him is Beckett now will slab his stuff.
What's up, Dom?
And authenticate it.
That's sick.
So that's pretty cool.
I just put a Instagram of his up for you.
Yeah.
So
you can see like there's Solo and Pee Wee Herman and stuff. Pee Wee Herman and everything. Yeah. So that was that. But you see,
oh, that's pretty cool, Giannis.
Yeah, he actually made I don't know if he has it on here, but he was there was an official card of the Culture Collision. He made the official card of Culture Collision.
Oh, that's cool.
Which was pretty cool. So
I wonder if that's on here.
There it is right there.
Is it this one here?
It is, but that's a different video. I think that other guy, the guy, but that was the official card of Culture Collision.
That's awesome.
But very, very cool. Very, very cool. Great guy to talk with and everything. Like I said, making some really cool cards and stuff. So looking forward to getting him and everything. Then also made another contact, and that's with Mojo Sports.
That's awesome.
And Jay and I talked. Yeah, Jay and I talked for a while, and it's just he's he's agreed and everything, and he's a matter of just getting a date. So made some contacts and everything and stuff like that. But here's the other thing that was just recently announced. I don't know if you saw it, but Culture Collision now is going to do 2 shows a year, it appears.
Dude, that was one of the questions I was gonna ask you, like, is January the only time they do their show? Because I would love to be able to get to that show more often. Just sucks that they literally run it the exact weekend that is my girlfriend's birthday.
So Prism God, they were talking about it, and they a day or two ago they put out they put it out on Instagram that September 13th, 2024.
Oh, nice.
Dusty, how's it going, buddy?
Hey, Dusty.
We will reach out to Josh and see what happens.
I did see that, man. That was kind of cool, actually. Well, yeah, we should definitely see about that, man.
Yep.
I've reached out to Leaf in the past and just kind of gotten ghosted, but I don't know if that's probably just because they don't know who the hell I am. If I was like, somebody like,
trying.
yeah, but still, yeah, we'll definitely keep trying.
So overall, that was that type of stuff. Like I said, the whole thing, some of the same type of vendors that we had, that we were there, last year. They had the basketball tournament and everything. But I will tell you this: the one thing that surprised me the most was that, for the most part, and I'm saying 85% or 90%. I hate to say this, but the dollar boxes were not very good.
That sucks.
The bargain bins had a lot of quarter and 50-cent cards in that they were trying to do for $1 and everything. There was the pricing this year was a little bit, higher on that type of stuff.
That sucks.
From that standpoint, so there wasn't really a lot of, let me go ahead and dig, through a lot of stuff. It's just the way it was. I mean, so, unfortunately there wasn't a lot of great finds, from that standpoint.
How was the deals on like the wax or like the like slabs or higher end stuff?
So on the wax, the stuff that I was looking at, like Stadium Club, the new Stadium Club, it's weird. The compact boxes they were good at. They were going anywhere from about 70 to 80. That was basic, and that was pretty much like the okay rate. The hobby boxes were a lot high. I was very, very surprised. The hobby boxes were higher than what like you could normally have gotten, like from Tops or on the aftermarket. There was a lot more the people that were definitely, higher on that type of stuff. In general, though, I don't, I mean, it wasn't. There was no like crazy deal, on wax and stuff. I picked up a compact box of Stadium Club, and I did pick up a 2022 Revolution WWE. I didn't have that. I had 23. I bought 23 at last year's National.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get a 22. So I think 22,
Nice.
I think that was the first year.
It was.
Yeah. So I have the 22 and I have the 23. And Mike was like, "Why are you going ahead and buying it? You're not going to open it." I said, "No." When we were walking around, we're like, "Ooh, look, there's a Rock Kaboom. There's a Roman Reigns Kaboom. There's there's a Bray Wyatt Kaboom and everything." And he goes, "Hey," I go, "Man, I could have one of those in my box." And he's like, "Yeah, but you'd have to open it to know about it." I'm like, speaking of Mike, the CEO of Gentili Cards, his graphics designer has finally gotten back to him. He has an official logo. I'm not going to release it. He will release that, at his doing.
Nice. Looking forward to seeing it.
Thanks, Dami. Yeah, my box was okay. I mean, it wasn't that bad. But overall, the traffic was good. at Culture Collision. But again, I mean, yeah, I didn't. Again, there was nothing. There was nothing to me that you. But obviously, when you're dealing with singles, if you see something, a lot of times uh, you want to, get it rather than walking around and missing out on it, right? But when
Yeah.
it came to stuff like wax and certain other things, there was nothing that when I walked by all the guys selling wax, there was nothing that I walked by and I went, "Oh,
Yeah.
I better not. I better not pass this one up." You know what I'm saying from that
Yeah.
standpoint. Like, man, I better not. I better not do that. So, from that standpoint. But again, overall good. The crowd was good. Yeah, I mean, you definitely it was again. The weird part was again. There was a lot of tables that were not full. I mean, there were people there, but it wasn't like it was wall to wall cards like it was last year when we went. Like
Yeah.
every table was packed. Wasn't that way, this year. There were, and stuff like that. And
Did
everybody has
cards
their I'm buying and so on and all that kind of crap too.
did Cards HQ and Sports Card Investor have like their own booth and table and stuff like that there?
Yeah, they were kind of together, but well, Market Movers. I'm sorry, I think Market
Yeah.
Movers was there, and they were kind of like
Okay.
that whole thing. So, um, you know, there was nothing. I mean, they were doing everything. SGC, I'm sorry, CGC was there. They were taking submissions. Uh,
Hey, Steve,
what's
on the
happening,
cruise
Steve?
ship. That's awesome, brother. Where you heading, man?
Nice.
Jealous. We'll be heading on another cruise in March, so
Golly.
super excited.
Um, so CGC was there. They had basically the exact same setup. I think that might have been a little smaller. SGC had about the same thing, but honestly, didn't really go by them. From there, Great Eight or Great whatever the big promotion that Bryce and Mark were telling us about. They're having their own. He
Yeah.
was there. I didn't
Okay.
but he had people in front of him the whole time, so I didn't get a chance. I just wanted to say, "Hey, I heard you." I just wanted to go, "Hey, heard you gonna be at the Pittsburgh kart show and everything." We
Yeah.
talked about, so just left
Nice. That sounds
Cartenga.
awesome.
Um, so Sports Car Dad was there, Mojo Sports was there, Ryan was walking around,
Uh-huh.
Hitman was walking around, Chi City Pulls was walking around, Kid in the Suit was there. He had a table.
Nice.
And Justin Gamble was there. I think he was
Was
at
Sports
his
Card
table.
Dad set up at that one? Or
Yes, he
was he
was.
okay.
He and Flipping Steve,
Nice.
had a table together. And
Nice.
he had a bunch of, he was doing a lot of, what do you call it? Stranger Things, stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm sure he did. I mean,
Yeah.
he has like a sick Stranger Things collection from what I
Yep.
understand. I saw he posted something on Instagram either today or the other day, and it was like some pretty nice autographs from Stranger Things.
Yep.
So did you get to touch base with him or Steve or any of them guys? They're pretty nice. I've met them at the
I said
national.
hello to Steve, talked to Steve a little bit. There was a guy, I don't know exactly what it was. I know it holds slabs, but I don't know if it was just something like to store your slabs or display your slabs because I wasn't paying attention. But I did see Steve and Dustin was
Uh-huh.
talking to this guy about, about about whatever it was that this thing was. Like I said, I
Yeah,
don't know if it was just a holder or a display type of thing. I wasn't really paying attention. But
yeah.
very, very, I mean, Steve, very, very personable and stuff like that, and everything. Then they had the big trade night at Cards HQ on
Did you go
Saturday
to that?
night. I did not go. It was Royal Rumble.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
touche.
I got
Touche.
priorities.
Yeah, I mean they'll be launching on the 1st, so you still
Yeah,
have
yeah.
time.
So, yeah, so that and everything looks like it went. So, what was ridiculous is that the night that if you look at some of the first, like the preview videos of Cards HQ from some of these guys, like I said, if you go to RPA or
Mhm.
RPA, I forgot what the hell his website is. I mean, his YouTube is, but like he was doing around and it was empty, from there was like nothing in the displays or anything like that.
Mhm.
And I think that was Friday, sometime on Friday. And then Saturday night when they had the trade show back there and
Yeah,
people were showing videos, the place was full. So they must have spent all night long, all day Saturday, just killing it in the store
I'm sure.
to be able to go for trade night because all the displays, all the shelving, everything was filled with product.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had to be going around the clock to get that thing ready.
Yep. But again, overall, I mean, I give it a, it was overall, it was a good show. Again, it did seem to, in my own opinion, it did seem as though it was definitely different, not different in a bad way than last year, but I don't know, like there was action, but it just didn't. Feel like last year when you were walking around, it just felt like like you were always turning and looking and stuff like that, everything.
Yep.
That, I didn't get that feeling, walking around this time.
Well, that's a bummer.
Should have went to Rumble stock. Rumble was, I mean, it was what it was. I mean, I think that, I don't know. There's a whole bunch of talk about that, and who knows, maybe we could talk about that a little bit. But like I said, overall, good. I would definitely go. I mean, I'm not that I won't go back and everything, but to be honest, I mean, 100% honest is that I was trying to really focus more on making contacts and trying to get guests for the show. I mean, that really, was something that I was trying to do, also. And
That's
that
awesome.
point, it all worked out.
And Culture Collision is a great time for that because I mean, just having access to different people within the industry, it's a show that's respected enough that a lot of people come out for, and especially them partnering with the launch of Cards HQ, I feel like there was even more people, like at least creator wise, that came out to be a part of it.
Yep. Yeah.
Hey, hey
Zach,
Zach,
what's
what's up, brother?
happening? Yeah. So that's where we go from there. As far as news, I don't know if you've heard it. Did you see that UFC has now signed on with Fanatics and Topps is going to be producing UFC cards?
I did see that. Yeah, I figured it was only a matter of time once WWE basically
I
announced
mean,
that they were doing it as like they're the same company essentially.
yep.
So why wouldn't they do UFC as well?
Yeah, I agree. It's I don't know. I found it odd in a little bit of a way um, that they did not make some kind of announcement at the same time, but whatever. I mean, I mean, let's face it. The truth of the matter is, I don't think who in the industry would have be surprised. Oh
Yeah,
my gosh, oh my goodness gracious,
yeah,
Fanatics has UFC now. I mean,
yeah.
nobody. Nobody should have been surprised, surprised of that and everything. From that standpoint. What does it do for collecting? What does it do? You know, I don't know. I don't, you know, I think what it's going to be interesting from a standpoint of is because what made, like I was watching somebody open up Immaculate
Hmm.
UFC, and those cards are just so damn good looking.
Oh yeah. Have you seen
And
the ones where they'll put like cage and stuff like that in them?
yeah. Well, it
Those
was
are
funny, like,
really cool.
yeah, so I was watching Juice. Juice opened up a case. He filmed it. I didn't get to see it live. I don't know when he went ahead and did it. But he was opening up, and like some of the what's cool is they when you get the patch card, they actually put on the card what it came from. So,
Nice.
like, for instance, like he pulled one from, I forgot who it was, but it was like workout shorts or workout pants, or what one of them was entrance pants or walk up pants. Another one, it was part of a sports bra.
Nice. I'm sure that one probably went for a little bit more for obvious reasons.
It might have. You know, but so from that standpoint, I mean, you know, it was stuff like that. So I think it's gonna be interesting to see, you know, what is Topps gonna do? You know, Topps really hasn't been known for those types of cards. And as they get more and more of these sports, and they get these things, what are they gonna do?
I would imagine they're probably going to just buy up, you know, whatever people are doing that stuff, you know, just like they plundered Panini for different employees to help them scale what they're going to do with the cards. I'm sure they'll do the same thing, just like, you know, who was making, you know, say UFC, find, you know, somebody that knows it and then kind of have that person train around them. You know what I mean? So I would imagine that's probably going to be their tactic. But I would imagine at this point they probably have close to the team that they need to really be able to execute whatever on any kind of scale. It would just be, you know, making sure that you're acquiring each and every license that you have, different employees to make sure that you can execute on. So, like Locken said, you're not falling behind on turnaround times and getting stuff actually released on time, you know, where you're opening a 22 product when 2023 is in the playoffs, almost the Super Bowl. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like stuff like that happening.
Yeah, and I agree. You know, I mean, like, well, I mean, you know, the printing is the printing because it doesn't make a difference, right? I mean, whether it was Panini, whether the printer was boxing it and slapping it in a Panini box or slapping it and printing it and putting it in a Topps box or an Xbox, that part's the same. You know, from that standpoint. You know, I'm just wondering, you know, from a design standpoint, are they going to, you know, kind of sort of, you know, bring the designs across? You know, like when you open up Mosaic basketball or your Mosaic football, right? They're pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder now, all of a sudden, do we get that kind of thing with Topps, right? Whatever they use for their base, whatever they use. So when, let's say 2025, they have it all. I don't know if it is or not, but 2025, whatever the design is, do they have the same design, the same basic design for baseball, football, and basketball, and WWE and UFC now?
I would imagine they probably do. You know, because if it's going to be Topps, you know, flagship, then it's going to probably be flagship across the board. If it's Chrome, it's going to be Chrome across the board. You know what I mean? I would imagine it'd be easier just to recycle the same designs and, you know, just focus on doing one really solid design across the board. And then really all you have to worry about is just changing names and
Right.
or, you know, sport stuff, you know, like instead
Yeah.
of court side, make it, you know, whatever, you know, it would be with a cage, you know, or whatever for UFC.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's interesting because, like I said, you know, of what they're going to do. You know, when you look at certain things, like when you would look at Panini Chronicles, right? One of the great things about Chronicles was is you got all those other little sub brands, you know, that Panini did. That's the kind of part that sucks. Like like that stuff kind of goes away now. There's no reason to print that stuff, right? You know, I mean, Topps can't, you know, because Topps, you know, they're not gonna have, you know, it's like you're not gonna have Score, you're not gonna have
Yeah.
Donruss, you know, you're not gonna have, you know, some of the Luminous, Zenith, you know, Contenders. I mean, you're not gonna have a lot of that stuff anymore. So, I mean, it is sad from that standpoint of having all that type of stuff go away, but it's kind of expected, when the company loses everything. But yeah, it does say it's going to be Fanatics and whoever has certain auto license. Yep. And the funny thing is that I don't know how long is that going to last? Because who's gonna, no one's gonna sign with Panini.
I would imagine at some point there will be somebody come up against Fanatics. I don't think it's going to be anytime soon, though. You know what I mean? Because think of like when Panini came in and kind of took over mostly everything, kind of like Fanatics is doing right now. It was a good number of years before anybody else was able to kind of be complete enough to challenge, somebody as big as Panini. But between Panini slipping on basically every aspect of their business and, Fanatics just being too big to fail at this point, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know that they're going to be able to meet their goal of 10Xing the hobby, but they're going to grift the hell out of a bunch of collectors. That's for sure, in my opinion.
I mean, you go ahead and find the next printer. You make a deal with the printer to go ahead and, say, hey, I know you're printing greeting cards, but I want you to print sports cards.
Mm-hmm.
Because the only way you're going to 10X the hobby is to get more product in people's hands. If you think, I'm saying, if you think you can grow the hobby that much, well, I mean, are you growing it from a value standpoint or are you growing it from a collector product and hand standpoint? Because one's easier to do than the other. You can print a shitload of stuff and get it out in the market and all that kind of stuff, right? But but then that's the bad part, because the more supply, the less that demand is going to go down.
I think another thing they could do really is if they want to, really grow the hobby, is actually give value in their boxes. Because I can tell you, like, so many times I've passed on buying sealed product just because I know I'm going to get skunked.
Yep.
Or there's probably a really good chance I'm going to get skunked. You know what I mean? And like, I'm not saying you need to hit like banger every single time, but like when for a fact the majority of the stuff you're going to get out of those packs are like base cards or base inserts that are going to sell on eBay for like $1, $2 if you're lucky most of the time. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like, why am I even doing this? You know what I mean? And then sometimes, say you get a hobby box, even like a really good one that is like all autographs, like you might end up with like trash players. You know what I mean? Like, so I feel like if they would just give more value, like what they were talking about, someone mentioned it, I can't remember who mentioned it in chat earlier, but the Card Collector 2 video at Leaf, where they were kind of talking about how they hand collate a lot of that stuff, so that way no one kind of walks away feeling like, oh wow, I just got my teeth kicked in on that one. You know what I mean? Like, well, at least you didn't hit your big case hit, but hey, here's a Barry Sanders autograph, or here's a Mark McGuire or something cool. You know what I mean? Like, whereas I feel like outside of what you kind of get with Leaf right now, you're not really getting that kind of value with anyone else.
Yeah, and I think I've said it before, and I know it may not. I know it's not going to increase the value per se, but it would increase the, for lack of better words, funability of opening up a box.
Yeah.
If you knew that you could get a patch or an autograph in every single box. Like, there are plenty of players in every single sport that you can put an autograph in a box. It may suck because you may go ahead and get the 11th player, whoever it is, on the Minnesota, on the Memphis Grizzlies, and not have an idea who the 11th guy is, who is more times than not a coach's decision not to play guy. But you open up and you go, all right, hey, at least for a minute you go, who autographed? And you go, oh, but at least you have a, you're getting something a little more, tangible
You know
out
what
of it.
though? If you're a Grizzlies fan, you're probably not hating the fact that you pulled that guy's autograph. You
Exactly.
know, and that's where it comes back to like putting value in there for the collector. You know what I mean? Because if I'm somebody that's a Cavalier fan and I'm pulling out even the bottom guy in the Cavs roster and it's an autograph, I'm gonna be happy
Yep.
because I just added to my PC. You know what I mean? And even if it's not like someone you can add to your PC, like at least make it an autograph that's worth a little something that you can recoup the box. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be like any superstar players like Giannis or Luca or LeBron or anything like that. Just like give us something.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
I agree with what he's saying here as far as the industry's code of ethics or whatever. It's just non-existent. That's why like there would be great if there were some kind of regulation to kind of make sure that things are done to make sure people don't get ripped off. But unfortunately, there just isn't.
Yeah, and I don't, and the funny thing is, again, how do you regulate it from a standpoint of, like who do you regulate, right? You regulate Fanatics, you regulate Panini, Leaf, but then you have other people who can print cards if they want to. I mean, like the culture, the culture cards.
You know what they should do? Like to be able to manufacture this stuff, you should have to have like some kind of a license, like almost like a liquor license or something like that, where they have to like make sure everything's on the up and up, or you like lose that license. So
Right.
like you lose the ability like altogether. Like say you have like 100 people banging down someone's door at some random association that gets created, saying, "Hey, these guys haven't sent me redemptions for like 2+ years." Boom, there goes your license to actually print money, because that's essentially what these card manufacturers are doing when they create cards, is they're literally printing money. um,
And yeah.
but if you cut off the flow, to where they can't print that money until they get collector A, B, and C their redemptions or whatever form of customer service that they need, you know what I mean? I feel like that'd be great. Then as far as like any other hobby related business, there should be some kind of regulation that's like involved as far as making sure, like, like repackers, for example, like there needs to be some kind of regulation to make sure that like the hits that are advertised are actually in the product.
Correct.
B, like what are all the hits in the product? Like is there like one, like say Giannis Antetokounmpo like rookie card, and then the rest a bunch of trash? You know what I mean? Like what's all in there? Like, because I see tons of repacks that don't have checklists, or like completely lack transparency. So like there's a lot of different things I feel like could really use regulation within the hobby. The problem is like the hobby is such a thing where like people want to transact as much in person, do as much as they can in cash,
Yep.
keep as much as they can off books. So I think with that being the case, there's going to be a lot of fighting on a lot of different people's ends as far as like any form of regulation when it comes to this. But until there actually is some kind of regulation, there really is no way to make sure that you know these companies aren't ripping us off. You know what I mean? Like, for example, like there's no way to prove that hot boxes are going to creators or people with big followings, but I know that my boxes aren't hot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I
And
heard
there's,
so much about,
if it is
um
true, there's literally no way to stop it.
well, I mean, I don't know. If you want to tell me that the stuff that is machine sorted, I okay, I can kind of sort of I mean, I'll give you that. When you talk about the high end stuff, when you're talking about like baseball definitive, or you're talking about immaculate or flawless, or what's the other one? Flawless, immaculate. Is there another one over there with Panini? But when you
National treasures.
national, yeah. When you're talking that type of product,
Yeah.
that is not machine correlated.
Yeah, it's all hand done, just like Leaf.
Right. So you can't tell me that they don't know where that stuff goes. I mean, because it all has to come off of somewhere and then it sits in
Yeah.
front of somebody. Now, unless you tell me, that Mary and Bob and Joe and Susie are all in their own little cube and they're not paying attention and they just go back here and they go, okay. And underneath the table, they put them in a box and they put them somewhere. I mean, I just don't believe,
Mhm.
you know, I just don't believe it. Now, don't get me wrong. When the stuff comes out first and the breakers and the the Blezes and the Laytons and a lot of these bigger guys and they sit there and they go and they buy 100 cases, 200 cases.
Mhm.
I mean, it does make sense that they would get a good amount of hits.
Yeah, for
When
sure.
you look at what happened with Backyard, when you were talking about like the four biggest hits of the four biggest products, and they hit all four of them in like matter of days, weeks.
Yeah.
Even if it's not true, that optics is horrible.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with, from what I understand, them ripping less and less product. But then again, I don't follow them super closely, so I
Who
don't. I backyard breaks. I just get
they
like
basically,
a lot of
for the most part, they've gone away and are now doing repacking.
yeah.
They're doing
That's
their
what
own
I think.
repacking. They'll do whatnot stuff,
Yeah,
but like the big when Grant and Nikki Rips were doing,
yeah,
on Twitch, and they were doing all that kind of stuff.
yeah,
Very, very little now. They might do like a release day,
yeah.
but not like they were and everything like that. You know, I'm not saying yeah, I mean, it could be fraud, but I mean, again, to
Yeah.
Anthony's point, if there's zero regulation, then I mean, is it fraud? There's no rules.
I mean, literally, all they're gonna have are people on the internet talking crap, and then they're gonna be like, "Oh, that guy's crazy. He has no
Yeah,
credibility. Who's he?
yeah,
He's sitting in a basement somewhere talking about sports cards." That's literally going to be their argument against it.
right.
When literally, like, that's the person that they want, they should
Yeah,
want, bannering their product is the person sitting in their basement talking about sports cards,
yeah,
because that's the guy that's going to go out and spend his paycheck to make sure he gets more sports cards.
yeah. So I don't know. Like I said, it's that whole thing is it's going to be interesting. Again, we say, I think the industry, I think the hobby is looking, and they're watching Fanatics. And I understand, Michael Rubin comes on, he talks about a whole bunch of stuff and everything. Hello, John. What is happening?
Well, I'm good to see you, brother.
Um, I think Michael Rubin, he comes on, he talks a lot, and he does a lot of things, and that's awesome. You know, I don't know. I mean, it's still very new. It's still going to be interesting to see what happens and everything. Well, no, Watkins, that's not really true because there is a jackpot. It's just the jackpot, you know, the jackpot doesn't make it into the box that most people can afford. And I think that's where that's the crux of the whole thing is that even if even if you don't know where it's going, the issue is that they know it's in certain types of boxes that only certain types of people will be able to afford to get into. So the kid who saves up his money and goes to the LCS or goes to Walmart or Target or wherever, Meijer, whatever, and wants to buy a blaster because he could only afford $40 and he buys one.
Yep.
That kid having zero chance to get any
Yeah.
kind of hit. That's where the fraud is. The fraud is not that really the breaker gets it. It's that it
Yeah.
only goes in all this expensive crap, and the true collector, the hobbyist, those are the ones that are missing out. It's the people who have the money who could lay the money down on that break and get the card.
And then not only that, instead of the product actually having a true chase, the chase is literally used for marketing. if this is the case. I'm not saying it 100% is. I'm just saying the optics certainly look that way in some cases. This is something that regulation would help with to make sure, hey, this is actually going out into the product. And here's the thing, like if manufacturers say that they have no idea where the hits go, how was sports card radio or any breaker under the sun that had that what was it, Crown Royal that year, where it
the
was
code
legitimately mapped, and any box, like I'm pretty sure Hitman did a video where he went through his inventory, was like, yeah, I'm not selling this stuff. And he pulled out every single box with that code, and every single box had a kaboom in it. You know what I mean? So if, random guys like Sports Card Radio, Hitman, like whomever are able to kind of figure this out, then obviously Panini, Tops, Fanatics, whomever, they know this too. You know what I mean? Like if it's in that exact same sequence every single time, it's not by accident that it ended up there. You know what I mean? It's how they figure out, okay, well that's the box we need to grab to hand to this guy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Again, look, it is what it is. It's not going to change. There's no need for it to change. I think, like Dusty says right here, you know what? It is. There's a dirty part to it, has become, but like you said, folks buy and buy and buy, and it won't change. And you're right. The only way change like this happens, is if the people go ahead and do something, but you're not gonna.
You wanna know something
There's
crazy?
too many investors involved.
With me and lady fella getting real big into Lorcana, I've been like, anytime I can find a pack at retail or anything like that, I'm buying it just to see what I can get so we can booster our decks or whatever. But she pulled basically like the chase card out of the very first set, which is like the equivalent of like the base set Charizard of Pokemon, which is like the enchanted Elsa. She got that out of a $5.99 pack at Barnes and Noble. You know what I mean? Like, there is no way in hell, I don't care what product it is, that you're going to find a $5.99 sports card pack and find that caliber of Victor Wembanyama, that caliber of, name whatever rookie you're chasing, CJ Stroud or whatever sport it is. It just doesn't exist. Like, it's not found. And even if you do hit a big hit like that at retail, it's basically a unicorn at this point. You know what I mean? Like, you might hit a like a base Wemby, or like, if you hit like a silver Wemby, like that's probably the biggest hit they put into the retail product. You know what I mean? Like, but being able to like legitimately come away with like the chase hit of the product, just buying like a little $5 retail pack, it just doesn't exist in our sports world. You know what I mean? Like, that's what's like, it's just like the value's not there. You know what I mean? Like, I remember back in the day, you know what I mean? You could literally go and get way better cards even at retail. Like, just the stuff that they're putting out, like at retail, is so watered down. I don't know if that's because they're trying to force us more so into the hobby space, or more so like retail is for kids, or collectors that can't really afford like the banger products or whatnot. But I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I just feel like, if, say, retail is the only exposure you have to, being able to grow that 10x, right? Because think of how many guys will buy a box of cards at a Walmart or a Target that won't actually go out of the way to go to a card shop, because they're not a big enough collector to where they would really feel the need to go to a card shop. But if they're already out at Walmart, they're food shopping, they're there with their kid, hey, they might pick up a box of whatever and rip. You know what I mean? Like, so I feel like you would probably want to appeal a little bit more to the demographic that's not already there, like ready to degen rip their entire paycheck. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, definitely. But I mean, so and here, just a quick thought, right? If you're considering, or you're talking about growing the hobby 10x,
yeah,
if you're going to grow the hobby 10x, at some point in time, you have to you have to get into the younger generation.
Yep.
Right? Because if you keep putting things out of reach, the younger generation really can't get in that much.
Yeah.
What better way to get the younger generation involved is if you're throwing stuff like patch cards and autographs in blasters, in megas that you can go to said store, Barnes and Nobles, Walmart, Target, Meyer, I don't care, freaking Big Lots when they have crap there, right? But if
Yeah.
you know you could go and you can get something, you're a kid. You're a kid, you go, you open it, you get something. I mean, oh my gosh. Dad, Mom, when can we go? When can we go get another box?
Yeah.
Right? So
Yep.
you gotta figure, you're not, you're not gonna grow the hobby 10x on the backs of, old guys like me.
For sure.
Because
Because you're
figure
already
it
set
out.
in your ways.
Yeah. You're not. It's gonna it'd be from that standpoint, because the older generations came up when it was really more hobby centric. Now,
Mhm.
look, buying and selling cards has been around forever, so it isn't like, oh, this new thing, right? I went to card shows in the 80s, in the 90s. It was the same exact thing. They weren't as big, but the same exact stuff. There was a
Yep.
bunch of guys and girls putting cards on a table, and you said, "Hey, how much is that? Ooh, how much is that? Would you trade for this? Would you trade for that?" Right? So
Yep.
the whole idea of the card show has not changed at all. The foundation of a card show is well, I don't know when the first card show was, but if it was 75 years ago, it's the exact same. The experience might be different, but the foundation is the exact same. It's buying, selling, trading, the cards. Experiences have been a little different, you know.
Mhm.
But again, if you're more of a collector, you know, you might overpay a little more for a card per se. Hold on, man. Night, Rocky.
Hey, good night,
Thanks for
brother.
swinging by, brother. Thank you very
Appreciate
much.
you being here.
Um, what I'm saying? Like, so if you're a little older, you're a collector. You don't really haggle that much off of the price of a card, right? If a card's 125, you might say, hey, we take 100, so blah 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 blah, right? So on and so forth. You're an investor. You're looking to make money off of it, and to me, investor doesn't just mean I keep and I hold. An investor buys and sells, right? Now you're looking for more of a discount on that card, because you need the room to make your money, you know.
Mantis, what's up?
Hey, Mantis, they'll be out of business within 10 years. Leaf or Fanatics? Who's going to be out of business? Oh, hold on a second. Get the president of Leaf. Fairly of a yeah.
I think they purposely go with the lack of automation. I think, like, from what
Who,
I've
Leaf?
heard, yeah, from what I've heard Brian Gray talk about in the past, is they purposely will correlate by hand to make sure each case, each product has like a fair number of hits. Like, for example, Trevor Lawrence here, like each case would have like a Trevor Lawrence or player equivalent of him per case. So I think that's something that Leaf purposely strives for, to have the lack of automation. From what I did see in that video, the guy did say like some of their retail products, like their blaster box type stuff, does get outsourced. So I would imagine that's more machine packed, more so than hand correlated, like we saw in those videos. What he's talking about, for anybody that's watching this back or listening to it on an audio format, Card Collector 2 put out a video the other day at the Leaf office, and they were kind of showing the process of how they correlate the cards, pack the cards, ship the cards, like from start to finish. It was it was a really cool watch. So if any of you guys have time, I definitely recommend it. But yeah, I mean, I would love to have a representative from Leaf on or any of these companies to kind of talk about it. You know what I mean? That'd be really cool.
Yep. Yeah, you're not wrong, Zach. You're 100% correct. When you think about it, you were still getting bunch of good stuff in, and then
Mhm.
pandemic. And
Yep.
then the things went off the charts and people didn't care because what happened is you had a whole bunch of people who jumped back into the hobby who had been out for so long,
Yep.
and all they felt was the rush of opening something up with the potential of being able to get because the prices were going up.
Yep.
So people didn't care what was in the box. They
Correct.
didn't care if there was a hit or not because a lot of people were going nuts and sending and look, it was two basketball players who started it.
Yep.
Zion Williamson and John Morant. And people were sending their friggin', Donruss base, their Panini
Yep.
base, their Mosaic and Prism base by the
Yep.
by the tens of thousands into
Yep.
PSA to get graded because they figured, my gosh, this card's going to be $500-$600.
Yep.
Not when there's friggin' thousands and thousands of PSA 10s out there. It don't work that
Correct.
way. All supply and demand the same way, right?
And then the sad part is most of them got jam and backlogged at PSA for like the better part of 2 years. So when
Right.
they got back to everybody, they were literally worth less than what most people paid to grade them.
Yeah. And then right, Dusty. So then they started throwing more inserts because they thought, "Oh, inserts are cool, man. Inserts are cool,"
Yep.
and they took the hits away.
Inserts used to be cool, like whenever it was like something special. Like the only time I really enjoy an insert now is if it's like something the caliber of like a Kaboom or a Downtown, or if it's like a really cool insert set. You know what I mean? Like WWE, I think it was Heritage had I don't know if it was Heritage or whatever the throwback set was, had like a Allen and Ginter set in
It
it
was
that
the
was really
Heritage
good.
that had the Allen and
Yeah.
Ginter subset.
Yeah, so like stuff like that, like little subsets, like I enjoy collecting those. Like my girlfriend will collect I don't know if you've seen that subset that looks like postcards of different cities in the baseball sets.
Oh yeah,
She
yeah,
likes
yeah.
to collect that subset, you know what I mean? Just because she likes to travel and go to all these different places. So different stuff like that I think is really unique and cool to collect. But they've so overdone the insert anymore, like to where it's like it's overkill with a lot of stuff, and it's just become, in my opinion, an extension of a base card.
Yeah, and now that on some of them now there isn't even just one case hit. That is like two or
Yeah,
three different case hits.
yeah. You know the crazy thing. Speaking of Leaf, just a little bit ago, they were talking about one of ones, and the guy's like, "Oh, well, that's not even the real one of one." And there's like 8 different one of ones, all these different colors, and he's like, "Oh yeah, but this is the real one of one."
Yeah.
It's like, well, shouldn't there just be like one, like one of one, instead of like, hey, the greens are gonna have X number, the blues are gonna have X number. It's like just make the one of one and then change the colors for like two of two, three of three, like whatever, you know what I mean? Like I don't know. I just feel like if it's going to be the only one, there should just be one.
Yep.
Because like literally having a one of one in like 8 different colors just doesn't seem like a one of one to me.
Well, they've done it. I mean, Scotty B Cards did something on his website, on his YouTube channel. He used, Wanda Franco as his thing,
Yeah.
but as an example. But I think during Wanda Franco's rookie year, I think he had over 200 different one of ones.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I'm locking. I think when the people that I think about bringing into the hobby who didn't come in during the pandemic, it's the people who were the not. I'm not talking about the teenagers. The people that came in there, but the people that have young children now that have that had kids in the pandemic and now they're 4 or 5 years old and everything. When mom and dad realize, my gosh, I'm you know if you're getting into the hobby and you're getting into it and you're getting into it and you're watching videos, you're going to card shows and so and like that, and you go to Walmart and you try and you buy a $30 blaster or a $35 blaster and you get nothing.
Yeah.
And then you buy a mega box for $65 and you get nothing. All of a sudden, that gets discouraging.
Yep.
For people. You're not
It
the
gets,
only one, Zach. You're not the only
yep.
one, brother.
Yep. Definitely miss those too. Orlando's in the house. Good to see you, brother.
What's up, Orlando? How you doing, buddy? I don't know. There's look, the hobby, it'll be what it will be. I forgot who it was. There was somebody was watching a video and they're like, well, I'm getting out of the hobby because there's too many people in it that are really just looking to, you know, make money, flip cards. They don't care about the cards, and I'm going to get out of the hobby and I'll get back in when those people are gone. And I don't know if I commented because I mean, well, I can't remember if I commented or not, but basically my comment was, well, hey, enjoy not being in the hobby.
Yeah.
Because that part's not leaving anymore. It's
Yeah.
not. I'm not, and again, not talking about the guys like Anthony and I and some of these, and Dusty who sells cards and other people on, Adrian who is here who sells cards and Rocky who will have sales. I'm not talking about the guys that sell, consistent, $2 to $20 cards. I'm not talking about those people. Those, because that's been going on forever. But the ones now that are dropping 20 grand, holding, expecting it to be 30, 40, 50 grand, those people aren't going to go anywhere. They're not, because
Yeah.
there's still that potential of it happening. And as long as that potential is there, there's going to be people here for it.
True. Very true.
I mean, that's just the way it is. I mean, but that's why
I think at every stage or maturation of the hobby, though, there's always been guys that are flippers, or like, I don't know if it's ever been like the rabid retail flippers like we saw during the pandemic, but I mean, it's always been something to a degree that the hobby's had to deal with.
Yep.
So I don't know that like not participating in it for any length of time really helps, anyone outside of maybe just gives you like a mental health break from it. You know what I mean? Because honestly, like dealing with, let's be real, there's a lot of scumbags in the hobby, but there's a lot of scumbags in almost any walk of life that you look into. You know
Yep.
what I mean? But letting someone else's activity or something like that ruin something you really enjoy definitely isn't. Um, it's not good, because you can find a lot of joy in the hobby. One thing I've had to do to like really keep it fresh for myself is a lot of times I'll just kind of pivot to like where I can find value, or kind of pivot to where I am having fun. You know what I mean? And for me, that's where like getting into Lorcana with my girlfriend's been really fun, is it gives me something else that I can kind of, chase after and enjoy opening. But then at the moment, I'm finding that I can actually find decent hits out of retail, which is also really awesome, so it gives me even more incentive to buy and open more. Whereas, like I said, I don't necessarily feel that pull to very many retail products on the sports side at the moment.
Yeah, I agree. And people are always going to try. Yeah. I mean, you know, there's always somebody who's trying to go ahead, and who's going to do something better. There's always someone's going to try and take advantage of somebody. There's always going to be that kind of stuff. You got to be, smart enough about it and everything. Um, I just think, it seemed back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
to use that, the old man phrase, back in the day when everything cost a nickel,
Yeah.
you didn't hear a lot about the, and I don't know how much there was, but of $100,000 cards, $50,000 cards, stuff like that, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
in the 80s and the 90s, you heard about the 52 Mickey Mantle, you heard about the T206, right? You heard about those, you heard about some of those cards and stuff, some of the Babe Ruth cards, right? You heard about that. but there wasn't as many as there are now.
Yeah.
I mean, people are saying that if you're, with absolute, which is complete and utter trash, like if you don't get a kaboom,
Yeah.
you're done. But CJ Stroud, and look, I'm happy the kid did well.
Yeah.
But to go ahead and pull a gold kaboom of him, and that card's a $15,000 to $18,000 card,
That's insane.
I just find I don't understand. But you don't have to, because if I would, if I were to pull that card and I'm like, oh my gosh, a friggin' gold CJ Stroud.
Yep.
Who wants to buy it? Who here is going to go ahead and give me that kind of money? Because there's no, and people go, I forgot who it was. Somebody was talking about selling a card and everything. And I was like, it was, people were talking about stuff with CJ Stroud. And they're like, man, CJ Stroud coming off that playoff win and everything, going to Baltimore. His cards are starting to go up. And I was like, sell.
Yep.
Sell it right now. No, man, but if he goes into Baltimore and he plays an unbelievable game and they win, it's going to go up and everything. It's like, and the odds of that happening are like, is it better odds that they're going to win or that they're going to lose?
Yep.
And I said, and then you got to realize something. Once he loses, he won't be talked about anymore.
Correct, because there's going to be a new batch of rookies next year.
Not only that, who's talking about the Houston Texans right now?
Unless you're in Houston, mostly nobody.
No, you're talking about the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yep.
You're talking about
the Niners.
The 49ers, and you're talking about Taylor Swift.
Yep.
Speaking
of which, did you know that McCaffrey's dad, Ed McCaffrey, also, well, I say also as if Christian's done this, but Ed McCaffrey has won a Super Bowl with the Niners. If the Niners win, both McCaffreys, it'll be like, I think the first time in NFL history, a father and a son have won a Super Bowl with the same franchise. Until Joey Porter Jr. does it with the Steelers, that is.
That's
hopefully.
That's pretty damn cool, man.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty cool too. I saw that, I think, on
so the next one would be what? Marvin Harrison Jr., right? Because did he win? Peyton won with the Colts, right?
Yeah, I don't know if Harrison was still a Colt though. I know Reggie Wayne was definitely there when they
won. Maybe it was
one. I don't know if Harrison still was or not.
Yeah.
That might be one for the old Google machine. But another cool fun fact for the Super Bowl I saw was both quarterbacks' fathers were Major League Baseball players. I know Pat Mahomes' dad was a pitcher, also by the name Pat Mahomes. That's why Pat's Mahomes second. But Brock Purdy's dad, I believe Sean Purdy, was a minor league pitcher.
That's crazy.
So yeah, both of their dads were like baseball pitchers. Kind of cool.
Very, very cool.
Which is probably why their kids have guns on them.
Probably why they do very, very well themselves.
Yep.
Yeah, so when you're buying and you're selling cards and stuff, I mean, the market is all over the place, and the market is, it's very seasonal. It is definitely, seasonal and stuff. Like I said, and it's going to be real. And like, I don't know. Here's like an interesting thing. I think when you look at these two teams, and you use the quarterbacks as examples. Obviously, Patty Mahomes wins, and he all of a sudden wins another one. That's what that's number 3.
Yeah.
And that's a holy cow type of thing, and you can see his cards, going up there.
Mm-hmm.
San Francisco 49ers win, and Brock Purdy has something to do with it.
Yeah.
Holy smokes, his cards are
Mm.
going to go through the roof.
Yeah.
Rage, what's happening? Welcome.
What's up? Good to see you.
Pat
Appreciate you.
Mahomes Sr. played for the Twins or Indians, I believe. I have a few of his
Yep.
rookie cards. Yep. He also played for the New York Mets.
Nice.
Yeah. So I mean, it's when you're looking like now, like now is a time frame when you're looking, hey, what do I list? What do I do? And stuff like that. And it's one of those things where as as a season is coming to an end, you start to see a little bit of a dip just because there's no more eyes on them, you know, from that standpoint. Speaking of football, with the merger of the USFL and the XFL to the
Mm.
UFL, who's going to do their cards? Will they? I mean, they gotta have cards. I mean, I know I have some XFL cards. I've seen those before,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if like Panini or any of these other companies try to pick up any of that stuff.
that would be a big one for Panini. I mean, that would be a good get for Panini, but that'd
I
be
don't
kind
see
of
why
hard.
Leaf wouldn't try to do something like that. They're so big into the multi-sport, like they could just throw that in there with the multi-sport. You know what I mean? Like that would be a good little addition, I think personally. But then again, does anybody care that much about it? I mean, like what's the cards that are currently out there doing? Like,
I don't. Well, that part.
you
That
know, if
part. I
anybody like
don't know.
actually like bought them
Hey.
well. Hey, Maddie, what's up?
Um. Well, I don't know. I would think if it. I think if you maybe. If, I would think the only cards that potentially could become something would be those of players that have made it to the NFL. That were in the UFL, the USFL or the XFL and have gone ahead and moved on and gotten jobs, gotten, spots in the NFL.
Yeah.
I could see those maybe, getting a little bit of a bump and everything. Um,
Especially if it's like a pre-rookie card type thing. That'd be pretty cool.
yeah. Well, it would be. I mean, they technically with a lot of these guys, it technically would be their first card.
Yeah.
It is a professional league,
Yeah.
from that standpoint. Um, but I don't know. Like I don't know how the league is going together. But if you have The Rock
Yeah.
and The Rock has autographs, and those autographs are with, I'm assuming, big assumption, but I'm assuming that if if he's involved, and if Fanatics is doing his cards and everything through wrestling, that it would potentially go ahead and make sense that he would, or that the organization or the company would go through Fanatics, unless there maybe possibly kind of sort of could be a conflict thing, maybe, you know what I'm saying? Two different, I mean, I don't know from that standpoint. Beats the hell out of me. As a diehard Brady fan, if Mahomes wins another one this year, he got 3 chips, been to 6 straight conference championships in 8 years. He's on a Tommy trajectory. Yeah.
He definitely is. I've been looking at a lot of the stats in his first 6 to 7 years versus Brady's first 6 to 7 years. And in most cases, it's identical. In some cases, Mahomes is actually ahead of where Brady was at this point. I think the one place Brady is ahead of where Mahomes is currently would have been like number of Super Bowl wins. I think Brady would have had 3 to Mahomes' 2. And I think Mahomes is like 2-4 right now. And Brady would have been 3-3 at this point of his career. But
Mm.
other than that, like, Mahomes is pretty much identical numbers wise, wins wise, like all that kind of stuff. which I thought was pretty cool. Especially with him having the opportunity to, not only win this Super Bowl, but potentially, a few more, before Kelsey retires. And, it seems like they have a pretty good little thing going there. Like even losing Tyreek Hill, they were still able to be very competitive. So I think as long as you got 15 there, you have a chance.
Yeah, and I mean, and as long as his contract allows for you to do the things you need to do, I mean, that's the one thing for all the for as much as I couldn't stand, Tom. I give the guy did put his football earnings he put him in a perspective to where his team was able to, you know, put good pieces around him to give him the ability to win all those. You know what I'm saying? From that standpoint.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, he definitely has a better offense than Brady had. Minus, I'd say maybe the Moss years, because I think that wasn't there a year where Brady had Moss and like even like a Corey Dillon run game,
Yeah.
or maybe they didn't overlap or whatnot. But I mean, those years where he had Moss, he had Welker, Gronk and Hernandez. Like, man, he had some weapons. I'm not even mentioning like Edelman yet. You know what I mean?
I mean, I,
Was
I
young at
mean,
that point.
yeah. Well, I mean, I understand what Rage is saying, but when you think about it, you look at like this year. What wide receivers does Mahomes have?
Yeah, outside of Kelsey, who's like a tight end, I mean, he doesn't have that many great tight end or wide
Brady
receivers.
had Gronk,
Yeah, true.
right? I mean, I mean, Pachenko and Edwards Hilaire, they're not scrubs, but you know, they're not Walter Payton and Barry Sanders back there.
True.
I don't know how much better you could say they are compared to the backfield that Tommy had. So when you look at the wide receiver crew this year versus nine, again, he had Tyreek Hill. He only had Tyreek Hill for two of his.
True.
So let's see what happens, as we go forward. I don't think you can say, man, that Patrick had way more talent on offense than Tom. I mean, they're dealing with a lot of the same,
Well, I'd say early on, Tom had a pretty terrible. I don't want to say terrible, but like subpar offense. You know what I mean? Like even before he had like the Dion Branch type receivers. You know what I mean? Like in like maybe his first one or two Super Bowls, it was just kind of like he was winning with like average type offensive weapons, in my opinion. Like so maybe that's what he's talking about. But like throughout the year, I mean, granted, Brady played for like what 20 years, something like that. So he definitely had some like really like to your point, really good talent at times too.
right. I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, it's going to be interesting. Look, they still got to win this one. If they don't win, and then it's like, oh man, they couldn't get it done again. I mean, even though they won, but they couldn't get this one done. So I don't know. I mean, I just from my perspective, it's it's just it's not necessarily even the talent around him. It's when you just look at some of the things he does, you know, and some of the way he moves and this and that and the other thing and stuff. And he's just very different than Brady.
For sure.
With the way everything. I mean, for crying out loud, Mahomes running around all of a sudden puts the ball in his left hand and throws it with his left hand to a guy who's open or anything and stuff like that. So
I would definitely say like from an athletic standpoint, Mahomes is definitely a better athlete than Brady was. But then again, that's how Brady fell to the sixth round is because he wasn't really that natural athlete. Tom Brady just happens to be one of the most clutch human beings on planet Earth.
yeah,
I think that's really where Brady really excelled That end is obviously like intellect and high IQ that he has for the game. But oh man, that's sad. Rashay Caldwell died. I didn't know that.
Shea Coy couldn't catch a cold in a game with my Colts. Finally beat the Patriots in the playoffs. Make sure they got more. Oh wow. Yeah, you're right. I mean, that's I mean, I don't really. I mean, I've never. It's funny. I've never had a reason not to like Kobe. Never had a reason to not like LeBron, other than it just But I mean, I just don't like him. Don't don't collect him and everything. Jeter never really liked or hated him. I mean, I like one card of his. Oh, Caldwell died in 2020. Come on, man. Yeah.
I still could consider Moss a number one receiver. You know what I mean? Like, regardless of what stage of his career, just because they broke pretty much a touchdown record that year, I think. You know what I mean? So he was still playing at a pretty high level. I mean, but I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, but again, I think what you're looking at, I know what you're saying, the Patriots never had a number one, but Pat hasn't had a number one wide receiver in 2 years, right? Because Tyreek left.
Juju wasn't a number one last year for him.
1A.
No, I mean Juju definitely sucked for him last year.
I mean Juju, MVS. I mean now you look at Rashid Rice and Sky Moore and stuff like that. I mean, again,
shout out to Sky Moore. He's from the same town where my church is.
I mean,
Pittsburgh boy.
Yeah, I'm just saying from that standpoint, everybody thinks that, Pat Mahomes has had these unbelievable, wide receivers, tight ends, running back, like he's had everything. But I'm just saying, when you look at it, you had, you had Tariq Hill for one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Only one. They didn't win with Tyreek Hill, right? I mean, unless I'm mistaken, aren't the Kansas City Chiefs the defending champions?
Yeah, they are.
Or no?
Yeah, they definitely are. They beat the Eagles last year.
Right. And Tyreek Hill wasn't there. So he's won one with Tariq, one without Tariq. I mean, it's not, and I'm not trying to compare anything. All I'm saying is that, when you peel back that onion a little bit, you think about those first few years, they went ahead and put up some stupid ass numbers because of Tyreek.
Oh, for sure.
Now let's see what he does. The thing is, you have is where the league has to be nervous about is their back end of their defense is young, their wide receivers are young, and if they progress, you got all these guys on flipping rookie ass contracts that you don't have to pay for a while. And they'll just start drafting more. But Super Bowl's going to be. I mean, as with anything, you just hope it's for the most part, I hope it's an entertaining game. Yeah, like I said, and the funny thing is when you look at Mahomes, you don't look at him and think, oh my gosh, that's a freaking athlete. Like if you would, like you don't go, oh my gosh, that guy. I'm not saying, don't get me wrong, he's not like he's offensive lineman full of that guy. But when you look at him, you go, really? You're that damn good?
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah, I'm sure there's a few teams that would like to take their pick back in 2017.
I'm sure. Yep. What, 15 of them or 14 of them? I think he went 15 or 17, whatever it was. 14 to 16 of them were like, somewhere. Damn it.
Yep.
Man, we screwed the hell up. Well, all righty. Let's go ahead and wrap it up. We're going for an hour and a half. I don't have any other topics that I wanted to hit. We've hit some good stuff as always. Cool. Anthony, what is happening in Pittsburgh's worlds.
Well, we're gonna have some more videos come out vlog-wise the rest of the week. Have a few more shorts lined up as well. And then this Saturday, I'll be live at the Pittsburgh Card Show from my vendor booth. And Sunday, Chef will be there from my vendor booth as well. So we're kind of doing this. I'm going to take Saturday. He's going to take Sunday. So that way there's different inventory both days at our booth. So if anyone is interested in coming by and seeing us, like I said, I'll be there Saturday the whole day. Chef will be there the whole day on Sunday. There might be a little bit of overlap from each of us both days, but I'll be busy a good portion of Sunday. So Chef will be holding the fort down.
Nice. Yeah. Hey, great chatting with you, man. Hey,
appreciate you being here, man.
You're not busy on Wednesdays. Come on back. We'll be here.
Next Wednesday we'll be over on my channel, so come over and check it out if you haven't.
Yep. For those or anybody who may have seen any of this on X, thank you very much. If you may have caught a piece of little snippet on the Instagram, thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, looking forward to seeing a lot of those travel vlog ones. Those are cool little videos.
There's definitely a bunch of those coming. I have actually in my drive right now probably 75% travel to cards, just because I have a bunch of stuff I have to rip open yet.
Nice.
So there should be a decent amount of travel stuff coming.
Cool.
So if you guys like that, there's more coming.
Excellent. All righty. Hey, thanks a lot, everybody. Appreciate each and every one of you for hanging out with us. Don't forget, next week, we'll be over there on that channel. If you're in the Pittsburgh area, don't forget the Pittsburgh Card Show. It's going to be awesome. Tons of giveaways. I know we should have talked about it probably an hour ago. Oh, well, at least we talked about it now.
Touche.
Thanks a lot, everybody. Catch you later.